Hello there and welcome. This is Journey, where we bring you inspiration, education, and content to help you follow your entrepreneurial dreams. In today's episode, we look at how a very curious science student turned into an even better science educator. Our guest today is Jade, who created a startup called Katapult here in Mauritius that gamifies STEAM-based education. STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, art, and math. Katapult makes this education gamified, engaging, and curiosity-inspiring for school children. At the same time, preparing the kids for skills of the future. Let's find out her story. Hello, Jade. Welcome to Journey. How are you today?
Hello, Krunal. I'm glad to be here.
Great to have you. What you've done with Katapult is some really innovative stuff, first of its kind in Mauritius. And so I'm really keen to share your story with the audience here at home. Without ado, my first question to you is, how did you end up creating Katapult?
So it really happened in late 2018, and I had this itch for this idea, and I'd always really loved teaching. And I did it throughout school and university, and I was tutoring, and I had this passion for teaching. And at the same time, when I started working, I really saw that there was a gap in the workforce and how students coming out of university didn't really have the critical and creative thinking skills that they would need to join the workforce and to thrive in the workforce. And really, that's how it got the ball rolling. And
so you saw a need in the market. You went, there are certain key skills for the future that aren't being taught properly. Is that what your rationale was?
Yes. So I think my rationale really was that the skills and the topics that are being taught at school are not necessarily adequate for what is waiting for these students and don't really prepare them for the future. Right. And what I really wanted to bring was this innovative and really playful approach to education. Wow. Because I think that learning science and technology should be fun, and it shouldn't be theory-based. It should be game-based, and it should be fun also.
And of course, you know that because you were a science student yourself, your academic background being in biomed engineering.
Engineering, yes.
Tell me a bit more about that. So what did that include? You were sort of creating things?
So I went to university and I studied biomedical engineering. And really what that is, it means that I studied mechanical engineering, but then all of the applications is to do with the human body. So I would study bones, blood, fluid in the eyes. And my job really started as a medical device designer. And I would design, the first thing that I ever designed was a breath analyzer. And it was to detect lung cancer. And then from that, I went on to design other medical devices, cardiac devices, and things like that. Sure.
So you combine your work experience, which is to do with, creating things and designing things, and which is obviously very tactical and fun. At the same time, you had some teaching experience. So was it that you were a teaching assistant at university while you were studying?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yep.
So to me, it seems like a natural amalgamation of, being able to teach well as creating things that are very tactical and teach you about science at the same time. Is that how Katapult was born as well? Did you see that as a natural combination?
I think at the time, I really wanted to explore whether it would be a viable idea, I guess. Yeah. And at the time, I didn't really see that it was a natural progression. I think things just happened. And I think it would be called natural, really, because things just happened and it turned out to be this way. But now that I think about it, I think you're right. It's a very natural progression because I combined the things that I loved and my passion for teaching, the way that I love to learn, which is very hands-on and very tactile and in a very playful and creative way with teaching.
And obviously you were working in the biomed field before Katapult was born.
Yes.
So your job, as you mentioned, included doing all of those things. Was it sort of something you didn't quite receive from your work that made you go into entrepreneurship, or?
I think I wanted a creative outlet, really, and I wanted to explore how I could be creative and really make an impact on the world. And that's not something that maybe I necessarily had in my job. And then I saw this opportunity, and really I wanted to test it and see whether it could work out.
Yeah.
And I'm here now, so I guess I'm still...
It worked out pretty well so far.
It's working out, yeah.
Speaking of testing and starting Katapult out, tell me about how sort of an idea became a product, and then once you knew you had a product and something at hand that you could take, how did you go on to acquire your first customer?
So really, as I've mentioned before, it started in late 2018. And how it all started was through this program called Test Drive by this incubator called Turbine. And for those who don't know, Turbine is an incubator where you can go with an idea and they help you and they give you the right support and network in order to really turn your idea into a minimum viable product, which is an MVP. And that's how it started. And I joined the program in 2018 and I'd met my two friends, Joe and Coralie from Gemstone. Yeah. And they were running a workshop for adults. And they were like, okay, well, if you don't have anything to do on this Saturday, could you come while we run this workshop for adults? You could run a workshop for children.
Sure.
And that's how it started. I'm like, okay, I have never done this before.
As in children of the people attending their workshop?
Exactly.
Okay, so just to sum it up, you had friends who ran workshops for skills for adults.
Yes.
And while they were running a workshop, their children needed to be kept busy.
I guess, yes.
Yeah, so
because it was on a Saturday.
And you already had this idea of Katapult in your head, where you wanted to work with educating children on science and other fields. Yes. So did you have to come up with a curriculum for that workshop?
Exactly.
Okay.
So I had already had the idea, and I met them, and they told me, well, you want the opportunity to run your workshop. Are you free on this Saturday? Then
That's
just
brilliant.
Come and run your workshop because there will be kids. And they had thought, because it was on a Saturday, the parents needed someone to keep their kids busy. So I just said yes. And that's really like my first workshop. I was thrown in the deep end.
Wow.
I had never done it before. I knew what I wanted to teach, but it was really putting it together. And they really were really helpful in order to guide me through this process.
Do you remember this first workshop? What was it about?
Yes. Yeah? It was on the squishy circuits kit. It wasn't a kit then. It was just a workshop. Okay. So really what I wanted to teach the kids was how electricity works. Yeah. And then we came up with a whole theme, and it was a storytelling studio with space themed. Yeah. And what I did for this workshop was to help them understand how electricity works with Play-Doh. And with the Play-Doh, they built their own little rockets that they connected then with the electricity. And then you could see light and sound.
Right. So they really get to feel and play with it and then see the electricity being conducted. I didn't know Play-Doh was a good conductor of electricity.
The Katapult Play-Doh is.
So I see you've innovated some of the things there as well to make it more education friendly. Wow, excellent. And so now this is important because this really sort of started out Katapult's main principle, which is to make things gamified, introduce a story into the concept of teaching and things like that. And this is super interesting to me. So traditionally, a class would just sit you down and teach you things, whereas you use games and stories to teach the exact same concept. Could you give me more examples of how you gamify learning? I remember you said something about a humidity measuring device. Yeah, tell me a bit more about that.
Oh, so this is, maybe I can tell you the story. Yeah. So the story is about Ben the bean and Po the human. So Ben is a bean and he is planted in the soil by Po the human. And really, Ben the bean has a friend called Sadie, and Sadie will come every now and then because she's a cloud. She will bring rain. But one day, Ben just gets really thirsty and he wants water, but he cannot communicate to the human. So then really how we structured it was that, okay, children, your mission now is to make... So
that was the premise you gave them? Yes. That was the story? Okay.
Yeah. So your mission now is to make a thirsty meter that will tell the human how thirsty, I guess, Ben is. And what it is essentially is a humidity sensor.
Okay. So you sort of use this story to introduce them. And next thing you know, Ben's able to communicate how thirsty he is through the...
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. See, I was so involved in that story because it makes all the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and that's great. And I'm sure kids love it as well. Excellent. And Katapult was born just like that. Okay.
Yep.
And then it was a matter of sort of expanding into other sessions and workshops to teach other science concepts, I'm assuming. And you took it from there.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Going back to how you built Katapult as a business, I know along the way you mentioned Turbine, but along the way there were other programs or contests and competitions that you participated in, which have contributed to Katapult's success. The first one being the competition you won as an Innovator of the Year.
Startupper of the Year.
Startupper of the Year with the Total, the fuel company.
Yes.
Tell the story to us.
I had applied to it, I think, in late 2018. My memory is a bit fuzzy. I don't really remember what happened first. But I had applied and then there was a pitch. I pitched and I won the Startup of the Year, and I won a cash prize of 450,000 rupees.
That's excellent for a startup that's trying to get
just
things
starting,
going.
Yes.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah. And I think what really this exercise or like this competition gave me was really good exposure. And on the panel of judges were a wide range of different people from different fields. And to this day, I still keep in touch with them. And I think that they've really been like some sort of unofficial mentors to me. And they've helped make introductions. They've helped when I needed an advice and really provide support.
Open doors for you.
Exactly.
In Mauritius. No, absolutely. Which is probably more valuable than the 450,000 you received in some ways.
Well, it was valuable. Both of them work together.
Let's not talk about how much money startups need. No, but well deserved. That is amazing, and I'm glad there are these things happening on the island that people might not know about.
Yes.
The other one, obviously, Turbine. We discussed.
Yes.
Turbine is run by E&L. It's an E&L brand.
Yes.
And they help startups who are starting out sort of develop and get going as well. You also at some point participated in a similar acceleration program in South Africa, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah? Do you want to tell us more?
Yeah. So really the accelerator program was called Why Her, and it was a female, it was an accelerator for females only. And what it really focused on was impact and sustainability. So I'd never really thought of the business before, as I have, but not in depth like that. And what it really got me thinking was how to make it more sustainable and impactful and really last throughout the years. And one of the key things that I got out of it was that I need to be measuring my impact and how I need to be tracking this, because otherwise I'm not going to know what impact I'm having. And Katapult is a for-profit, for-impact company. And impact is something that's very important to me, and the social impact really, because as we've said before, and it's an education company, and really what we want to do is prepare the youth of today for the future and the skills of tomorrow. And we'd only know if we're doing something impactful if we measure this impact.
It's a difficult thing to measure. I mean, because what you're doing now would ultimately pay off many years later with these kids, moving on with their lives and doing amazing things in the science field or otherwise. We at Journey, we also believe that, business is not just about making money. It should also be making some sort of difference in the world as well. So yes, while you're running a business, how else do you measure the impact? Is it how many children, school children you're reaching out to? Is that your way of measuring how well Katapult is doing as well? Or what are your metrics?
Let me tell you, it's a challenge to measure the impact. But the metrics that we can measure now is the number of children that we can reach, the number of girls that we can reach, the number of, we do a baseline survey. So how they feel about science before and how they feel about science and technology before the workshop and how they feel after. Are they more inclined to continue these science subjects after our workshop? And in general, how they felt about the workshop. Was our approach being playful and innovative and creative? Was it fun to them? Did it make them see science and technology in a different way? These are the things we measure.
No, excellent.
So right now we're doing some work about this impact measurement framework, and really what we would like to do is to measure our impact throughout the years. And this is just not something we can do now because we're so young, but we would like to keep in touch with these kids and see where they're at and how we've how we've made a difference in their lives. But that's still a work in progress, I guess, and it's not something that's well established yet.
Oh, sure. But the idea is that you would actually sort of follow up with them in the future and see what difference you've made in their lives. No, I think that's beautiful. That's amazing. Okay. Jade, obviously an innovative business, but at the same time, can't help but ask, do you have any competitors in this space? Yes, for sure. I think there are different kinds of competitors. There are direct competitors who will do similar things like STEAM workshops. There are also indirect competitors because anyone running activities for kids would also be an indirect competitor because that takes up time in the children's timetable, and that means that they then can't attend the workshops that Katapult runs. So yes, there are definitely competitors, direct or indirect. And then for what we're running right now, which are in-person workshops, that's how they affect us because whatever other activity they do will take their time and they won't be able to do activities with us. But then for the future, how Katapult wants to scale is through an online platform. And this is a different ballgame altogether because there are so many other online subscriptions, online platforms, online everything. And maybe should I answer how I want to deal with it? Okay. And I guess the way that Katapult would like to address that is how do we bring the most value to our customers, and how do we educate, inform, and at the same time provide value? And value could be in different forms, through the content, through the price, through their accessibility, and these are all the questions that we're currently asking ourselves. And right now, I would say that we're very much at the beginning of building this platform. So I guess we will figure many things out as we go along. But you've got your side in the right sort of direction as well in terms of knowing who your competitors are. For once, I would have never thought co-curricular activities are also your competition. Great. Obviously, you've thought about your competition. What are some of the sort of practical hands-on things that you'll be implementing in the coming weeks or months or years to address that and really sort of capture the market share? I think one of the first things that anyone should do is really a competitor analysis. And as boring and cliche as it might sound, it's very helpful. And really rating the scale of how this might impact your business. Is it because of the location? Is it because of the way that it's delivered? Is it the price? And all of these different factors, and really mapping out and having almost like an infographic of your different competitors so that you know where you stand and how you as a business, or Katapult for me, really brings value, and really focusing on that one part that will bring value to the customer. Because at the end of the day, you can't capture everyone, you can't do everything, and really finding your niche and finding what you're really good at and focusing on that. And I guess one of the ways that we go about it is to figuring out who our customer is, who is that person. And one of the exercises that we do and everyone should do is user personas, and who is that user, where they shop, what do they do, are they online, are they offline, do they go to the supermarket, what kind of supermarket, and where would we be able to capture our audience best? And it doesn't always have to be online. Sometimes we do it offline. Sometimes for us it's online, but through parent ambassadors. That works really well. And through word of mouth, but they still use social media, but parents will want to know like what other parents think. Did they like it? Did their kids like it? And a referral from another parent is much more valuable than us being like, our product does this, and this is how we found that it's worked best for us. Very nice, yeah. Know your competition and know your customers. at the same time and really listen to them, I guess.
Yes.
That's the message.
Yeah, and iterate the product as you go along, because what you might have at the beginning might be close to what they want, but figuring out through feedback, through studies, and through analyzing data what they really want and how you can best serve them.
Does that mean all your products are constantly evolving? There's always sort of a change element to it and things are going on?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
Well, I am an engineer, so I love testing and making new things. Sometimes people get attached to an idea or a product. I don't. I'm very happy to move and change and be scrappy and try new things.
Whatever serves the customer needs the best is the way to go.
Yeah. Well, a combination of whatever serves the customer best and how does that align with our vision and what we want to bring out in the world.
Sure. No, excellent. Katapult has a number of different products and programs. Do you want to tell us a bit more about, because they're quite distinct in themselves as well?
So everything is based around science and technology, and we try to make it fun and creative. And really we have two types of products, which are our workshops. And our workshops are delivered either in person or online. And these workshops can be anything from how to make your own video game. You can learn maths with drones.
Maths with drones?
Yes. You can implement augmented reality into your games. And you can even learn electricity with Play-Doh. These are a bit of our workshops. And as I've said before, either online or in person. And then the second kind of product are our kits, which is a physical product.
This is something they can take home with them.
Yes, exactly. Okay. But really, this kit started as a workshop because all of the kids wanted to take home with them, and then I ended up being without equipment. So I'm like, okay, so I need to make this into a kit so that they can buy it and they can play with it at home. And that's how it started. And the kit is, for now, this is our first kit. It's called Squishy Circuits, and it's a kit to learn about electricity with Play-Doh and slime. And with the kit that you can buy in store or online comes a series of video tutorials that you can follow, and you're not alone, and it has different levels of difficulty. So if you are maybe 5, then you will play with it mostly. But if you are maybe 8, then you start really understanding and grasping the different concepts of electricity, which are parallel circuits, series circuits, switches.
This content you provide to with the circuits as well?
Yes,
there's sort
with
of
the kit.
Literature that goes with it or something?
These are videos that you follow.
Even better.
Yeah.
No,
so it's on a platform online.
Excellent.
You sign up, and then you get the videos and you follow the videos. So with the kit, you can even make your own. Do you know Operation, the game?
No.
You know the game where you play like as if you're a surgeon, and then you need to remove things from.
Yeah. There's like a dummy body parts.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Things. Okay,
So you need to remove things from someone, from like this dummy thing, and then you need to not touch the.
Otherwise it buzzes.
Exactly.
Okay.
So with Play-Doh and the different electrical components, you can create your own operation game. I think in French it's called Dr. Maboule. So Dr. Maboule or Operation, then you can create your own and really like personalize it and have your own rules. It's as if you're creating your own version of Operation.
It's really a good combination of, yes, it's science, but also it allows a lot of creativity and sort of freedom to create your own things out of the kits as well. No, that's great stuff. Most of the workshops that you run happen at schools that you've partnered with. How else can a parent, let's say there's a parent watching right now who would like their kids to be involved with Katapult workshops and products, how can they go about sort of getting involved?
Okay, so the workshops, we run some with the schools, but we also run some that are open to the public and open to anyone really. And to find out more about these workshops, parents can visit our website where they will find out the length, the price, the location of where the workshop is happening. And this we really have, it's very extensive on our website, so it's just katapult.mu, katapult with a K.mu.
No, we'll put that down somewhere so people can see what the website is. No, for sure. And some of the products are available at retail outlets as well?
Correct.
Other than your website?
Yes.
Where they can actually go and see them as well.
Yes.
So could you tell us some of the places where we can find them?
Yeah, so the kit, Squishy Circuits, is available online on our website. So katapult.mu, there's an e-com, you can buy your kit online and get it delivered to your house, or you can buy it in store, and you will find it in all of the book courts of Mauritius. So the Bagatelle, Trianon, Cascavel, and I'm not sure if I've listed all of the places, but it's spread out across Mauritius. And then you can also find it at Le Rendezvous at La Croisette.
Excellent. Right. I hope people take that and go pick up some Katapult products next time they're around there, because it's really excellent. I mean, I've seen the things myself, and they're quite intuitive. Even as an adult, I feel like playing with them. Great. Going back to the startup and how you've sort of worked on it, obviously this would have changed you in a lot of ways, going from a full-time job to building a business. What are some of the ways that you've sort of grown and developed as a person?
I think I've developed in many ways. Personally, I've also grown as a professional. And personally, I think what I've grown is really resilience. And the fact that if there's something hard that I need to do, I am not overwhelmed by it. I make a plan and I break it down into small tasks, and I try to achieve these small tasks. And if I need help, I am not afraid to ask for help. And I will try and find the right person to help me. This is, I guess, one of the things. And as a professional, I guess, I've really grown through the people that I've met and the network that I've been exposed to throughout these last 2 years. And I think I see things differently now. I think before I would see things as something maybe that's not achievable, or I wouldn't dare to dream big. I would, I guess, limit myself to what I could do. And today I feel it's very different, because I know where I have this vision, and I'm gonna make a plan to get to this vision. And I know that I'm gonna set myself realistic goals to get there.
Big part of being an entrepreneur is dealing with the uncertainty that it comes with, and at the same time, speaking of uncertainty, COVID-19 affected all the businesses, assuming Katapult as well. Tell us a bit more about how you deal with uncertainty, and how did you stay resilient after the whole COVID situation last year?
I think dealing with uncertainty is a big part of working in the startup environment. And I guess for me, it's about being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Did I say that right?
That
being comfortable about being uncomfortable.
That's great, yes.
And how I deal with it is I don't get too attached to an idea. And for me, what I keep in mind is the mission and purpose of why I'm doing this. And this is like my North Star, and I follow this. And this is my guide. When I am uncertain about certain things, I just ask myself, am I fulfilling things, or am I doing things that will bring me closer to that vision and that mission that my startup is all about? And this is one way, I guess, that I deal with uncertainty. And coming on to your second question was how COVID affected it. But really, it took a toll on us. Like, one moment we were going to run a holiday camp, and we had already planned it. We had participants and everything. And the next, lockdown, everything is closed. So we really had to transition very quickly online. And it wasn't easy, because at that moment in time, that was in April 2020, students weren't used to online learning. They didn't know how to deal with online learning, how to be without their friends in class, and how to even navigate their way through the computer. So it was a big period of adjustment. And we tried, me and my team, we really tried to guide them through the process. But not just them, but also their parents, because they relied a lot on their parents to set up their computer for them, go on Zoom, navigate everything. And it was a learning curve for the parents, the children, us as educators. And what we learned from the process is that if you're used to teaching something in person, in class, it's not a matter of taking that lesson and just putting it through video call.
Oh, it's completely different.
It's completely different. Yeah. It's a completely different experience, because people get tired on video call. The engagement is not the same, because you're interacting with the screen. Everyone wants to talk at the same time, and it's very, very different. So we had to rethink the way that we had planned the lesson and how it was going to be a better experience for the children. And we use a bit of blended learning. So we would give them projects and activities that they would do offline, and then they would come online at later stage in time, and they would then discuss about it. And then we would be more intentional about the discussion, because it's difficult to control if you have about 10 people on a video call. Who speaks first? Who says what? And everyone is able to really engage in the conversation. It's hard. And setting up boundaries and rules and a working agreement of how we're going to work together. This is some of the ways.
Yeah, you had to be quick to adapt to
Yes.
things. Absolutely.
Yeah.
On the back of the whole COVID experience, do you think digital is the way forward? Is that something that we should be prepared for all the time? Or obviously it helped you create this new avenue of running Katapult as well. But what's your take on that? What's your take on whether is it going to be important to be digital ready at all times in the future as well?
I think it's the COVID pandemic really changed the way that we address digital, and that digital is not just like lectures online, because that's very low engagement, there's huge dropouts if you sign up for an online class, and the only way that you can engage with the class is through lectures, and it's only one way. And for me, really, the future is a mix, like it's blended learning, really. It's a mixture of in-person, online experience, and being on a platform that's engaging. That I haven't really figured out how exactly, but really I know that one of the things that people engage the most online are games. And they are engaged with games for a long time.
You
and
can spend hours.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the ways forward for me is gamified learning.
Interesting.
Yeah. But also keeping the in-person component, because we need to create community and being collaborative in our learning process, because we're humans at the end of the day.
Best of both worlds, I guess, is the way forward.
Yeah.
Right. Going back to, again, you as an entrepreneur, you start a business, you start a startup, and you are responsible for everything. Walk me through how you had to sort of wear all the different hats at the same time. And then as Katapult progressed, how you had to change your approach as well.
So I come from a background where I used to have a very technical job. I was very technical in my job, and I would spend a lot of time on every single little detail of a product. From the handle to the millimeter, it was like 0.02 of a millimeter, that kind of precision. And then to a job where I had to wear so many hats and really deal with so many cards. And from one moment I would do creative work where I would be designing a product, but the next I would be doing admin, invoices, expenses, and things like that. So it was an adjustment for sure. And how I've dealt with it is I've, I guess, dedicated days for doing different things. Yeah. So I would dedicate a day to do admin, dedicate a day to do meetings, and dedicate a day to do more of a creative work. Because once you're in the creative process, it takes you time to get into this mindset and for you to sit down and get creative. And if at every point in time you're like, okay, now I have an admin meeting, it just disrupts the whole process of you being able to create. And really what I've come across is, I think the concept of it is called time batching. So you will do very specific things that are similar into a category onto certain days. That's how really I dealt with it at first. But now that as we've progressed through the business and we are now ready to hire more people and have more specific roles and be able to have people who are able to contribute and do a specific thing, it's really changed the way that I use my time, really. I think now how I think about it is, how can I add the most value to the business? And what is the most valuable thing that I can do and spend my time on? And that's what I will do. And right now, I'm really focusing on strategy and growth. And that's my focus.
It's a skill as well in itself to sort of pick your battles and see where your time should be going the most as the founder of Katapult. Excellent. By the sounds of it, and I guess this is common for almost all entrepreneurs, is that in the beginning, you are trying to accomplish goals that are so audacious that it's very difficult to find all of those skills in one person. I know you started off without a co-founder, but could you tell us the importance of having, your partner in creative crimes, as I like to call it, your co-founder, and has your sort of take on that changed over time? Where are you at with this?
I guess when I started, I didn't know better, and I started by myself, and I didn't feel the need to go and find a co-founder at that time. But now I think I've learned to know what my strengths are and what my weaknesses are through this business. And it's been a process. And right now, I am in the process of putting together a founding team. And maybe ask me in a few months how that is going. But so far, it's going okay. I feel like, because if you had asked me when I had started, what would I need in a co-founder? I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't know what I would need.
Okay.
I wasn't aware enough to know, maybe I need this skill in a co-founder, or maybe I don't have this kind of skill, because it was just starting out and I was still very young and I just didn't know.
My final question to you is, a lot of our audience is aspiring entrepreneurs, people who are planning to begin their journey, if you may, and go into their own ventures. What are some of the advice you would give to them?
As you mentioned, it is a journey, and it's a long one. You don't just get there, and you need to be okay with it being ups and downs and being resilient. And while you're being on this journey, you need to enjoy it. And it's a process. So I guess the advice is to make the most out of it while it's happening. And it's just not... success is also not just about like the highs, but also the lows, and enjoying all of it.
That's excellent. Yes. Jade, thank you so much for being here on the show today. I really enjoyed our conversation. Great to know the story behind Katapult as well. Hope to see you again soon on Journey, and all the best with Katapult.
It was a pleasure for me too to chat with you.
So that was Jade from Katapult, revolutionizing how kids learn science in schools, now in Mauritius, but eventually all over the world. Thank you for watching our episode today. You can follow Jade and Katapult on Instagram and Facebook at katapult.mu, or visit their website, katapult.mu. Thank you for watching today's episode. If you like today's episode, follow Journey on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We hope to see you again next time.